In this video, we talk E-Scape game mechanics. Hi, my name is Gary with Talon Grasp Games. Today, we're going to go over the basic rules of E-Scape, a science fantasy role-playing game. We're going to start off explaining some of the stats that are relevant to your dice and how you resolve tests. More sophisticated aspects of the game, such as the magic system, glitches, bugs, degradation, and all that. Future videos will go in depth on each of those. So for now, we're just going to focus on the overarching way that you resolve conflicts in the system. So before we go into the testing itself, let's cover what stats are relevant to determining what dice you roll. There are three types of stats in the game that do this. They are core, attribute, and system, all of which have a score ranging from 1 to 4 and are used in combination with one another depending what's trying to be done. Cores are related to what a character is doing. There are 7 cores in E-Scape, those being artistry, or anything creative, athletics, anything physical, education, anything related to higher learning, engagement, anything related to social interaction, environment, anything related to your surroundings, study, anything related to interpretation, and travel, anything related to locomotion. Attributes describe how a character is doing something. There are 6 attributes in the game, those being duration, or performing an action with patience, endurance, or persistence, memory, or performing an action from learning, experience, training, network, or performing an action with collaboration, interaction, fluidity, power, or performing an action with focus, force, or intensity, precision, performing an action with accuracy, meticulousness, or nuance, and speed, or performing an action with efficiency, quickness, or intuition. The final source of dice in a test comes from system. So there are 2 system traits in the game, both of which can only be possessed by ghost characters. The 2 system traits are Surge, which is the ability to read and manipulate the energy of E-Scape, and Tide, which is the ability to read and manipulate the data flows in E-Scape. These will be covered in more detail in the future with regards to how magic is used in the system. So suffice to say that they are a source of dice in the game, but this video is going to cover just the basic general rules. Now that you understand the stats that drive how dice are used in the game, let's go through how tests are actually performed. There are 4 steps, pretty simple to go through, and these are used across the board through any test in the system. The first step is creating a dice pool. Step 2 is to determine your target number, or TN. Step 3 is to roll and count successes. Step 4, and the final step, is to compare your success total to the success number for the test itself and determine how you did. Let's go through each of these steps one at a time, starting with step 1, creating the dice pool. To create your dice pool involves understanding what 2 stats are involved in the test. They are oftentimes going to be a core plus an attribute. When the core is announced, a skill will also be chosen and announced by the GM that is applicable to that test. For the purposes of creating your dice pool, you don't factor in the skill whatsoever at this point in time. When the core is identified, you're going to identify what your score in that core is and grab that many 8-sided dice, or D8s. You will then look at the attribute that goes with the test. If the GM specified what attribute that is, you'll look at that stat and add that many dice to your dice pool. If the GM says instead that you have the choice of attribute, you can pick any attribute you want for how you want to perform that action and add that many dice to the dice pool. So for example, if your dice pool was composed of environment, stealth, plus attribute, you would look at your environment stat, let's say it's 3, and stealth does not factor into this at all. You would then look to determine which attribute you want to use for this. Let's say in this case that speed is the preferable choice for how quickly you want to try and find a hiding spot. So you look at your speed score, let's say it's also 3. So you add 3 more dice to your pool, generating a dice pool of 6. Once your dice pool is collected, you go on to step 2, which is determining your target number, or TN. Every test in E-Scape begins with a TN of 3. To determine whether or not that goes up, you look to see if you have the applicable skill for that test. In our example, we quoted stealth is the applicable skill. The player who does not have stealth on their character sheet would maintain a TN of 3, while a character who does have stealth would increase their TN to 4, so adding 1 to the TN. Once you have your TN determined, you move on to step 3, where you roll and count your successes. When you will roll your entire dice pool and determine how many of the dice have a result that is equal or below the TN that you've determined in step 2. If your TN is 3, that means you're going to look and count any dice that are 1s, 2s, or 3s. Each one counts as 1 success, and that is your total number of successes. If, however, your TN is 4, in addition to increasing that number from 3 to 4, so 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s all count as successes, any 1s you roll count as 2 successes each. Soon as you have your success total, you move on to step 4, where you share it with your GM and determine the resolution of the test. If your total number of successes is equal to or greater than the success number for that test, which could be told to you before you start rolling, then you've passed the test. Sometimes it might have extra benefits if you have higher success total than the SN you were given. If, however, your success total is below the SN, that means you either failed or you got a partial success, depending on the nature of the test that was asked for. And that's it. Those are the basics of game mechanics in E-Scape. Hopefully this helps explain how the game is played. And moving forward, you have the baseline understanding to get some of the more complicated aspects of the game, which includes glitches, bugs, degradation, pushes, bit flips, the whole shebang. So if you like this video, please be sure to follow and subscribe to us, like it. And also don't forget to check out our website, www.talongraspgames.com, and check us out on Instagram at talongraspgames. Thanks.